We've all heard the phrase that, regardless of our situation, we should pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. It's the American dream, to make something of oneself from nothing. But, statistically speaking, that's easier said than done. Often, those born in poverty die in poverty. But not everyone. Today we'll be examining 10 people, some famous and some not so famous, who were born with nothing but used their grit, talent, and brilliant ideas to rise out of poverty, going on to make lots of money. In many cases, millions and even billions of dollars. Let's take a look. 1. Andrew Mupuya. While maybe not the richest person on this list, Ugandan CEO Andrew Mupuya is certainly exceptional, and not just because he hasn't hit 30 yet. The young entrepreneur was born to a large family in the Manafwa district of eastern Uganda and was able to attend school only with the help of government grants. Andrew was just 16, both of his parents lost their jobs, and he knew he had to do something to help the family out. He had seen that the Ugandan government was trying to phase out plastic bags for environmental reasons and knew that, with plastic bags gone, there would be a need for new, eco-friendly bags. He learned how to make paper bags by hand from a local woman and began small, very small. He calculated that he needed 36,000 Ugandan shillings, equivalent to $15 USD, to get started, but didn't have access to that kind of money, so he and his classmates raised most of the sum by collecting bottles. The final 8,000 shillings were borrowed from a supportive teacher at his school. Mupuya registered the business, becoming the first paper bag manufacturer in Uganda, and found local merchants who were interested in purchasing the bags. His company, Yeli, was very quickly turning a profit. Today, he has won awards for his innovation and entrepreneurship, including a $30,000 prize, been featured twice on Forbes 30 Under 30 list for Africa, and overseen the production of millions of paper bags. Andrew may not be a millionaire just yet, but he certainly pulled himself out of poverty to do something great and profitable. 2. Sarah Jessica Parker. It may surprise you to learn that Carrie Bradshaw from HBO's Sex and the City was once living in poverty, but it's true. Parker was born in Nelsonville, Ohio, one of 8 siblings and half-siblings. In her youth, the family did not always have the money to support a household with so many children. Sarah has recalled in interviews times when the power was shut off because of unpaid bills, and the family skipping celebrating birthdays and holidays because they couldn't handle the extra expense. However, she notes that thanks to her mother taking the children to free public cultural events, they never felt that they went without. Fortunately for the family, they had a talent in their midst, and it was not long before Parker's acting career took off. In fact, she was on Broadway in Annie in a supporting role by the age of 12 and moved into the lead role of the Little Orphan Annie 2 years later. From there, one might say the rest is history. She was cast in supporting and lead roles on TV and in films after her Broadway stint ended and has rarely ceased working since. Today, her net worth is estimated at around $100 million. Not too shabby for a kid from Ohio. 3. Lakshmi Mittal. At one point the third richest person in the world, Lakshmi Mittal is an Indian steel magnate residing in London who is, today, worth approximately $10.7 billion. His father got the family into the steel business, and from him Lakshmi learned the basics of the business, but he struck out on his own, forming a new company and made the moves that ultimately made his venture a global force in steel. Known for being media shy, not much has been reported on his young life, but what we do know is that Mittal was born to a poor family in Rajasthan in northern India, and as a child it seems he did not always have access to electricity, indoor plumbing, or running water. That circumstance stands in stark contrast to his current riches. A Goldman Sachs board member living in a large residence on Kensington Palace Gardens worth around $128 million. Lakshmi threw his daughter a wedding so lavish that it made the news for its high price tag. While the price of steel declining and his sometimes extravagant spending habits combined with philanthropy have reduced the overall size of his fortune, he's now number 91 on Forbes' list of billionaires. He remains incredibly wealthy and influential, especially given where he started. 4. Bethlehem Tilahun Alemu. The next entry on this list is Bethlehem Tilahun Alemu, the founder and managing director of Soul Rebels, an Ethiopian footwear company based out of Addis Ababa and known for its ethical and sustainable business practices. Alemu was born in the Zenab work area of Addis Ababa, one of the most impoverished parts of Ethiopia. Growing up, she saw that the community had many artisans with creative talents but few job opportunities for them to make a living off of their skills. That's why, in 2005, after graduating from a local college, she began Soul Rebels with the goal of creating jobs in a globally known brand that came from and was representative of the people of Ethiopia. The company began with 2 shoe models in 2005 and has grown exponentially while maintaining their values as a job provider that goes above and beyond to offer good jobs, with each shoe handcrafted by Ethiopian craftspeople and formed from locally available materials. They even have a line of vegan shoes. Today, the company has 13 brick-and-mortar stores, including locations in Hamburg, Singapore, Barcelona, and Silicon Valley, and has sold shoes at major retailers like Urban Outfitters and Whole Foods. While Alemu's personal net worth is not publicly available, it is certain that her company, at least, has made millions. And all that from one of the most disenfranchised villages in Ethiopia. Pretty incredible. 5. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Known today for his acting work in action franchises like the Terminator series and comedies like Kindergarten Cop, and, of course, as the former governor of California, life was not always so easy for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Before that, you may know about his bodybuilding career, but do you know how humble his beginnings really were? He was born in Austria in 1947 when the country was still reeling from World War II. His father, a former Nazi Party member and SA, was physically abusive and openly preferred Arnold's brother over him, believing that Arnold was not, in fact, his son. The family was poor and Arnold remembers his struggles with money, with the purchase of the house's first refrigerator being a particularly big event. Knowing that he did not want to stay in his small Austrian town, Arnold worked to find a way out and, by the age of 15, he had found bodybuilding as a legitimate option for him. At the age of 20, he became the youngest ever Mr. Universe and, shortly thereafter, landed his first acting role. And the rest, as they say, is history. Today, his estimated net worth is around $400 million, enough to buy as many refrigerators as he wants. 6. Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren, born Ralph Reuben Lifshitz, may be worth billions today, but he certainly didn't come from money. A self-made man, one of the most famous fashion designers of our time, was born in the Bronx to immigrant parents from Belarus, Frida and Frank Lifshitz, an artist and a house painter. The young Ralph Lauren served 2 years in the US Army, then took night classes in entrepreneurship while working in tie sales by day. Working at his day job, he began to think he too could design ties, and convinced his employer, Beau Brummel, to let him start his own line. The ties were a success, and were followed shortly by men's and women's shirts, the beginning of his polo line. It was not long before things took off, and today Ralph Lauren Corporation is a major American fashion company employing over 18,000 people, and Ralph Lauren himself is worth approximately $6.3 billion. An amazing journey from his humble roots. 7. Do-won and Sook Chang. Another impressive story of success against the odds, Do-won Chang and his wife Sook Chang moved from South Korea to California seeking opportunity in 1981, with no higher education and work experience primarily in coffee shops and hairdressing. They were in their early 20s and took whatever work they could find, cutting hair, washing dishes, pumping gas, often for minimum wage, totaling about $3 a day. It's rumored that pumping gas was where Do-won Chang got the idea for the business that would make them their fortune. He noticed that people who worked in the garment industry seemed to have the nicest cars. So he took a job at a clothing store and learned about the business. A few years later, he and Sook started their first store. And today, they're worth over $3 billion, which makes sense, given that the store they founded became the first of many, the basis for a clothing retailer you might have heard of, Forever 21. 8. Craig Newmark. Craig Newmark might not be a name you know, but you've probably used his website a lot over the past 35 plus years. The founder of Craigslist was born in Morristown, New Jersey, the son of an insurance salesman. Sadly, Newmark's father died when Craig was just 13 and the family struggled financially after his loss. However, thanks to scholarships, Newmark was nonetheless able to attend university, becoming a computer programmer and, ultimately, an early adopter of the internet. He saw the need for a free internet marketplace and the site he built gained popularity quickly, and has remained popular long-term where other older websites have fallen. Though he set up Craigslist to make only minimal profit, with its enduring popularity, he has nonetheless made a fortune off of his so-called internet commune. While estimates of his net worth have been disputed, it is certainly in the millions, if not the billions. And had he gone with a different monetization model, he could have made much more. Not that he's expressed any regrets. Craigslist is exactly how it's meant to be, and Craig himself is too. 9. J.K. Rowling. Perhaps one of the most famous rags to riches stories, the author and creator of the Harry Potter series was once a struggling single mother and teacher. It took her 5 years to map out the series and write the first book. And before the first book was accepted to be published, she received myriad rejections from publishers who must have kicked themselves every day for the last 20 or so years. She was living on government benefits and battling clinical depression, then things turned around. The Harry Potter book series became an international mega hit and spawned a series of incredibly popular movies and a spin-off additional film series that continues to produce new films. The Potter universe even generated a smash hit Broadway play. At present, Rowling is estimated to have a net worth over $1 billion, the first author ever to hit such a high net worth and more than twice the estimated wealth of her contemporaries like Stephen King and John Grisham. 10. Oprah Winfrey. Last but certainly not least, we come to one of the few people in the world who are usually referred to just by their first name. No more information needed. Oprah. Born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi in 1954, Oprah came from the hardest background imaginable. She was born to a teen single mother, a housemaid. In her youngest years, Oprah wore a potato sack for clothing. She was molested as a child and ran away from home, becoming pregnant at just 14 but losing the child before being sent to live with her father Vernon, a barber in Nashville who was strict but more encouraging to the young Oprah. There, she became an honor student and joined the high school speech team, winning contests for oration that led to a full scholarship to Tennessee State University. In high school, she got a job at a local radio station, and at just 19 she landed a co-anchor position for the local news. From there, things only grew, with co-anchor positions leading to hosting television shows, leading to hosting her own long-running and incredibly popular talk show, and of course onward to launching OWN, her own television network. From being teased as a child for her poverty, Oprah pulled herself up to become one of the most famous people alive and a billionaire, with a current net worth around $2.7 billion. A truly impressive feat. And there you have it. These 10 people did something amazing, making something of themselves despite the odds. Do you think you have the strength, determination, and good luck needed to do the same? Do you know of any other truly self-made success stories we missed? Sound off in the comments to let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the little bell button to make sure you're notified when a new video comes out. That way, you'll never miss amazing content like this that shows you how you too can make it big, no matter your circumstances.